Hi, everyone, and thanks for waiting. And welcome back if you do pop in here. My name is John, transforming into Lily. This is the drag portion of my live feed. Now, in the first video, unfortunately, I had to stop it a little bit early because the wonderful thing about being a single parent is if you have animals, they will start to whine. So in my case, he really needed to go outside. Now, as I had gone through in the first one, we did the foundation, the brow blocking, the beard blocking, and we started to soften up everything with our highlight, contour, everything. So in this, now what we're going to do, thank you for coming back, by the way. We're actually going to go in and just soften up some of these lines. So we're actually just going to buff it up. Now, if you have any questions, please feel free. Comment. We'll go from there. I do have it set so it is a slower feed so that you can make your questions, comments, whatever the case may be, and I can reply back to it. So as I had mentioned earlier, I had gone in and I had framed the face with the contour. And in this case, what I have gone and done is, as you can see, I've actually brought it up. So it's like a 3. Well, depending on how you're viewing it, can be backwards in this case. So now we're going to go in and we're going to do the nose, which is fairly basic. We're just going over top and defining what we've already done. This will probably be the only time you see me do makeup where I start swiping and going from there. Now I like to bring that up here, as you can tell, because it defines where the new crease is going to be. And you can't forget where you've done your contour. Thankfully, you can go in and start buffing that. Now that I have that portion done, I've already let my makeup bake because I had to stop the last video and restart over again. So now, because we've gone in, we've buffed everything, we can go in and actually add a little bit more here. Now I do have product already on there. That's fine and dandy, but I like to get a little bit more into your powder, which is just a basic setting powder. And I like to go in up underneath the eye. Like so. And you can define and clean up those lines. Because it's going to be sitting there, you don't really have to worry about it. So see, we're just going in and defining what we've already done with that powder. Cleaning everything up. And I just take a little bit on the very end. We do that. As you notice, I didn't highlight or anything down here. This is the time I like to go in because I've used that little bit of a darker color, which was the fair olive and all that, on the base of my face. I can go in and just lighten it up just a little bit right there. Now what that's going to do is make this, because everything's starting to point down here like this, okay? right here is going to be a highlight. Now, yeah, it might look like it's going to be a chin strap here, but that's not the way it's going to be in the end, because I overdraw my lips. A lot of us do overdraw our lips, so it starts to bring everything together, and it will make sense eventually. So that we're just going to put off to the side. Do any of you have any questions? I know there's a couple of you on here viewing at the moment. And we're just going to put away some of our brushes. We'll throw them back here for now. Okay. So now that I've done that, what I can do now as well is sometimes I like to take just the lid to my light skin tone powder that I used, and I take a little bit of banana powder, which smells fantastic, this stuff. And I actually go in big dogs. And I lighten up underneath the eyes just a little bit. Now I can do the same down here, which is just reassuring what I've already got there. And I let it bake just a little bit. So now I can go in and I can define how I'm going to do my eyes. I'm just going to take that fluffy brush again, and I'm just going to start mapping out where I want it to go. Now, I did come up a little bit higher here, but I'm also bringing it down because I want my eyes to be more together. Okay. Eventually, you have to put a little bit more powder on. Now, this is just so I know where my crease is going to be, because it will be covered up. Sometimes you have to pat it on there. So as you can see, it's a little off on this side compared to this side, which means I didn't bring it up just high enough over here. Because you can always add some, but you can never really truly take it away when you add the makeup on. Which, as we all know, drag queens, less is more for some. In this case, not at all. I have to add more because, well, quite frankly, I got a big head. Now, while I'm doing that, I am tapping off the extra. You can't really tell because I have a towel down in front of me. I'm going up underneath my eyes. And I know what you're probably thinking, well, you already lightened all that. Why would you go in? Well, because the look that I go for requires a little bit of shadowing under the eye. So if you haven't followed me on Instagram, please do. it is Lily Divine 84. You will see pictures of me as John. You will see pictures of me as Lily. And if you want to just follow my boy account, you can follow it as well. It is Bravo.36. You can also follow us on Showgirls Entertainment on Facebook, as well as the Canadian National Showgirl Pageant. So as you can see, I've started to define where I want it. So now I don't really need that. What I do need now is I need to go in with my powders to start doing my eyes. Which, I'm going with this little one here. And I'm just going with this. And I start darkening that up. The inside there. Now you'll know, in some cases, yeah, you might not want to do dark colors. As I had mentioned in my previous video, I'm tone color blind, so I don't see the blues, the reds, and the variations in between. If it has the name, fantastic, I can build from there. But in the most case, I stick to the darker colors, or try to. I'm just going in. This is a flatter brush. Now, this is more of a, I guess you would call a buffing brush. I'm not very familiar with all the brushes. If it works, it works. Just go with it. Build with it. Don't be afraid to play around with your makeup. Because not only is this helping you, if you're watching this, either live or in the future, it also helps me because then I learn, you get to see the errors as it's happening. So don't be afraid to play with makeup at all. Now, I had mentioned earlier that in my other video, I am a single parent. And as you might have noticed, if you have viewed my recent videos, I go through 11 things what they don't tell you, or that they don't tell you about being a single dad. It's not just for single dads, it's for single moms as well. I also touched base on divorce, being single, starting to date again. So if any of that interests you, please, by all means, take a look at my face or my channel. Comment, like, subscribe. You know, if you want to see more videos, please let me know. I can do it. And in this case, I like doing my makeup. I think everybody, it doesn't matter whether you are Nikki Tutorials, Jeffree Star, whoever in the hell that other one is. The sisters, or I don't know. I don't follow a lot of them. Nikki Tutorials, I do. I don't know if you do as well. Fantastic. I mean, really. She's got like the stunning work. Stunning. So what I've done is I've gone here and I've lined my eyes with that contour powder that I was using to define where I want the crease. So when I go in and I start putting in these lines, it makes it a little bit easier because I have something to follow. And it's quite the long process. Usually takes a few hours, but in the first set, it didn't take as long. So now what I can do, because I have actually take that off right there now. Because I've already got my eyes mapped out where I want them, I like to go in and do my eyebrows. Because then I can go in and define what I'm doing with some of my highlight powders. And I can see exactly where I'm going to go. Now, in most cases, you want to go like this here, like this, and then, of course, the outer ridge. I know where I put my eyebrows for the most part. You always have that wonky one. But I like to start right where I see that water, that tear duct starts. So I like to start mine there. Now I can always blend some of that out. And I start to get my first line in. Now, I'm not using any specific brand of foundation because I'm not partial to everything. I just prefer to use the same foundation I did to do my contour, which is Graftobium. And it is a cream foundation. This one is a dark tan, or what they call a dark tan. It's brown. So I use the brown foundation. As you can see, I'm doing it a little bit thicker because I'm going to end up going in with my highlight and defining what I've done. So as I mentioned, as a single parent, once married, am no longer, well, technically still married because I'm still waiting for those divorce papers. My kid absolutely loves this stuff, wants to take part in it the whole 9 yards, wants me to put a face on him. and my brows aren't going the way I want them. And that's fine. We're going to go ahead and we're going to change it up just a little bit. There's that one. Let's get our white foundation. There it is. We're going to go in and touch it up. See, we're going in, we're going to draw it out a little bit more at the end here because we can always go out. And I like to soften those lines by using my fingers. So you see how it softened it up just a little bit. Same thing on this side. It's fixing it up what's already there. Now, I am by all means not a beauty guru, as I have come to learn. I just know what works for me in doing my makeup for my face. If you find something that works for you, do it. By all means, do it. It makes your life easier, then by all means. I mean, seriously, there is not much anybody can do. Nobody can tell you what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong. Just do it. Now I am using a basic white powder that anybody can get at any Halloween shop because we're all clowns. And that's a joke. It's just a reference to Drag Race, RuPaul's Drag Race. So I'm just setting that. At this point, I could go in with that same white powder, and I could actually define just a little bit of what I already have there. So we'll just throw that in there, throw that off to the side. So now comes a choice. Which colors do you want to use for the rest of your eyes? Now I'm going in and I'm just going to lightly take that powder. Now it looks a little muddy there. That's okay. This is just setting what we already have, because if we go in with our translucent. And cough. I'm sorry for that. But you never know what's going to happen when it's live. Put a bit of that white powder on there that you've used before for frame and everything else. It helps. And no, that is not booze. That is bubbly water. So I'm going to go in with what they call drip drip in this e.l.f. Earth and Ocean palette. So this one right here, which is a stunning palette, by the way, because I want to add some color. I'm actually going to go in and just press it over top of where I put that dark color, that black, which is called trenches in this palette. And I'm going to start to darken it or lighten it. It's a good time to bring it out as far as you want it to. In my case, I'll be going out with a wing to kind of define. So you can start connecting it and going out like this. And it starts to bring that look. We have to go in with another shade here, but I need my other palette, which is underneath my computer mouse. Throw that over there. Now this is just a fluffy angled brush. I'm just going in and dabbing like this. And I'm building it on top of that color that I had already put there. Because it's roughly the same color. The e.l.f. palette, it's called Drip Drip. And that one has more of a shimmer to it, whereas this one doesn't. So anything that is there is already showing up from the last color. You can't forget under your eyes because you already darkened it, right? And you may have to go in with that fluffy brush again. And you're just adding it onto what was already there. So it's kind of coming along. We will end up darkening the black. That's not an issue. I'm not worried about it. because we can always go in with that brush again. And start darkening it up. I'd like to say black is black, but that's not the case. Now, as you can tell, I'm not really worried about getting it on my lid because I'm actually going to go in with an eyeliner. You can use gel, whatever the case may be, and define it. Now, there should be enough product on there not to worry about. And now, at this point, what I'd like to do is actually just brush a lot of this that has been baking on there away, because you do end up getting fallout. You may not notice it, but there is fallout here and here from the colors already. And then I go in and I actually reapply because it makes it more pronounced. So just lightly. And while you're at it, you can actually buff this line with that if you have to. If you have a towel sitting there, sleeve, whatever the case may be, you can also do this sometimes. Just lightly flick it away. You can buff along here. Now you will end up softening it anyways, because the powder that I use goes into different tones, plus the highlight as well. You can go ahead and put that on for your cheek highlight. As I was mentioning before, with the foundation in the part 1, because this is part 2. Hi, Paris. My dear friend Paris from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, who recently got married this year or last year. I'm not quite sure. Every day just blends into one for 2020. It's a giant mess. To Malcolm, the little delish of a man, with the highlights. Now, Paris, you could learn a thing or two about this as well. With the sagging skin and, the wrinkles. Adding a lighter highlight, like your foundation. You can actually, when you're sitting back and taking a look at the mirror, or in this case, I'm looking at it, when you get a picture taken, if you have any laugh lines, wrinkles, whatever the case may be, it actually, I keep looking at the comment. I know he loves me. It takes out that dark spot. So when you smile, once you start highlighting and everything along the sides with your powders, it's going to pop it out. So you won't have that shadow. This point we can go in with, now I like to use white for this as well. I like to do my cut crease. I'm not really worried about the color because it's changed from a white to muddy white. Just cutting that crease. No girl like me to do makeup. Oh, you shitty queen. It depends. If I'm doing an impersonation, like Bette Midler or whoever, doesn't matter who, I take quite a while to build it. Now, this has taken quite a while because unfortunately, this is part 2. I had to stop it earlier, which was about a half hour doing the base portion of it. Not everybody can just wake up in the morning and slap on some lip gloss. I'm sorry. Because God knows you do not contour. She's white as hell, folks. She's white as hell. You look like death. And for anybody that is actually going to watch this as well, whether it is live feed or not, go and check out Paris Gore, the House of Gore. Now that is not nice. Paris is actually a very big advocate of the HIV/AIDS community. Now, her story is much different than my own. And she does a lot of work with local charities and so on in Sault Ste. Marie. So if you happen to take a look at her site, and living with HIV as well. That's why it's your story to tell, not mine. Follow her. She does the Scarlet Affair, which benefits those with living with HIV/AIDS in the Sault Ste. Marie area. And Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, I believe. If you have any links for that, Paris, drop it in here so people can go and view your stuff. if anybody watches this video. I don't know now that you're here, but so that was just a little bit of Mayron glitter dust that I just put on to set that white powder. Normally I go in with the black, deep black eyeliner, which is exactly what I'm going to do. And then I'm actually going to set it with a black powder as well. In this case, I'm going to grab this powder. You can use a gel eyeliner. You can get them in just about any color you want as far as liquid eyeliners go. Especially if you look up, kind of defines that little crease that you want. And then I like to overdraw it just a little bit. You know, a subtle look. Something we like to cook, bake. After this, I'm going grocery shopping. And that's a damn lie. I'm not going grocery shop. Do it in full face. Wouldn't be the first time. Would not be the first time. That I can tell you. I'm just going in with the black, loose pigment. Which, before I continue on, and Paris starts laughing at me. We're going to put a little loose powder under the eyes so we don't get a great big mess. Then we have to go in and fix it. Too late. Is there any type of videos anybody wants to see in the future? Other than me Reading the dog shit out of my darling sister up in Sault Ste. Marie. Which is harder than hell to read anybody. That can give it just as good and makes fun of themselves. We're just going to scroll down here. Tips. I will do a video about that as well, but I'll touch base here because it is a bit of a tutorial on different products you can use and so on. If somebody is giving you a tip, not including the present time with everything that is going on in the world, they are taking that time to reward you because they are thoroughly entertained with your performance. Now, do not rip it out of their hands and then walk away. That's that moment with that person that came there to see you or came there to see the show and is entertained by what is going on. Because that is a sure way to lose people wanting to come out and see the show, especially if you're involved. And the reason why I say that, because I'm sure Paris Gore can agree with me on this. We learn from our mistakes. We've all been there. It doesn't take anything out of your time while you're performing to thank that person, even if it's just a hug or, peck on the cheek or a nod, whatever. They're doing it out of the kindness of their heart. They don't have to give you shit. Now, once I finish this, once I finish the eyes, because the eyes take the longest for me, I'm going to take a brief intermission. Because, well, I'm not as young as I used to be, and quite frankly, I still have to go to the bathroom. So let's go in with that drip drip color from the Elf palette. Much like Paris's asshole. I first met Paris Gore, Sault Ste. Marie, a few years back. I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 years now. And we've been friends ever since. Now, if you have a white eyeliner, because it's not an easy eyeliner to find in Eastern Ontario, apparently. What you can do to kind of give it that open eye effect after you've added all that black is just putting a little bit underneath, even in the corner. Yes, we did click right away. Now, there are some fantastic entertainers up in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, as well as on the Michigan side. If you get the chance to even go up in the area, if you are watching and you are in Ontario or anywhere in Canada, it is a beautiful area. Go up and just see it. Experience it, especially the drag shows. Because up in that area, they are hard to find as well. Few and far in between because everything is so spaced out. It's Northern Ontario. Now, what I'm going to do in this case is I'm just going to give a little bit right here. Now, mind you, yes, they have some fantastic performers up there. They do have some fantastic performers. That I can't knock. But just like anywhere, Yeah, they have fantastic performers. Those other ones. Sorry if we're lagging a little bit there. Who are not the greatest individuals at the best of times. And that's what this is all about, right? Doing a face, and a little bit of pointers if anybody wants any or ask any questions, and talk shit. I'm going to dust away that powder now. So quite frankly, that's all I want to do for that. So it's a pretty look. It's working. It's working. Now, I know Paris went for a smoke. She did say she was going for a smoke. And if you are a smoker, fantastic. I am so close to finishing that I'm not going to go and have a little break. I'm going to try and finish this up with you all. So that was used. My other one, there's that. Yep, that's it. So if you have a lighter powder, now as you can tell, it's all white. What you can do is go in. If you're a white queen or lighter skinned queen, same concept. If you're black, brown, doesn't make a difference. Now you would want to find a shade that is closer to your tone, whereas mine is milk of magnesia white. So I'm using what would be a natural buff color. So you get that peachy color almost. And I go in and I try to pack some of it on there where I had everything else. Now, sometimes with an older palette or pressed powder, you're going to have to break some of it up. So that's what we're doing. Changing the tone. And at that point, I like to go in, now that I've done that, and I warm it up a bit more. Anywhere that I contoured, I go in with my blush. As far as on the nose goes, just a flick. And underneath, it starts to soften it up. Now, what we can do is add our highlights, so our shimmering effect. But in this case, I'd like to go and do the lips and then do that portion. But I have to clean off your hands. Then we go in, we find whatever one we want to use. Let's see what we're going to line our lips with. We did use some bluish color, so let's go in with something similar to that. I like to do it a little bit darker. Might even use black. Just to line the lips. And as you can tell, I overdrew my lips. I go into the corners, change the color of it, make it a little bit darker. I'm going in with Croco. Just lighting that. Now I'm going to get my basic lipstick here. And we have some options to go. Now, I typically use lighter shades. The hell with it. Let's put a pink on there. Shocking pink. I don't know if it'll match because I'm tone colorblind like I had mentioned earlier, but here we go. Get your lip liner brush, one that you're going to use. and blend out the lines. Kind of like that. Except, in this case, it's not showing up as much as I'd like. So we just have to find that little one here that we used for our lips. I won't say what those lips look like, but if I had lips like these in high school, I would have been a lot popular. So give a little wash of the hands here with that cloth. We're going to go in with the shimmer. Then we're going to do eyelashes. Where did I put my shimmer? There it is. Oh. Sure, we can use that. A little bit goes a long way. In my case, like I had said earlier, big head. So now I like to just take my finger at this point. Go down the bridge of the nose. Could use the end of a thing. Brush as well. Just like that. And you can go in with a flat brush, or not a flat brush, but not a dirty one. Get that tip on there. Get a little brush away. Now, just by looking at this, I'm all right with it. I mean, of course, as for you guys, it's going to be a lot different. This is just what I come up with today. We're going to go and add some lashes, which I'll do in another video where I put the hair up. I'll show you the process of putting the hair up. Right now, I just got the eyes, got the lips, the highlights. As I had mentioned, as far as the highlight goes, I'm just taking a little dab on the finger, and you can actually add a little bit more to define. We're just going to go in with that little one here. Cupid's bow. Get a bit on there. Don't be afraid to take your brush and blend it out. So as you can see, you can put a little bit down here as well. Will not make a difference. I mean, you can add as little as or as much as you want. Play around with it. So while I got everybody on here, if you are still watching, we're going to go and put on some lashes just so you can see the end result. I'm not used to having a big ring light in front of me so I can see every little flaw, which is fine. Lashes. Now, I buy my lashes on Amazon, just like a lot of other people do. It don't make a difference. You can make your lashes however you want. In my case, I have 301s that I have 4 pairs stacked on top, but I actually made these lashes here. So those are what I'm going to put on. I'm just going to take off a little bit of loose stuff here, because I unfortunately forgot to cover it. And I have my glue. You can use Duo or Quo or whatever the case may be for your glue. I use the Superbond Professional Formula Dark, which just dries black. It is a hair bond glue. That I use. I take the cap, dip it in the end. It is silicone based, so I mean, when you go to take it off, it just pulls off. You can roll it off your skin. I just do that, if you can notice. And then I just line the outside of where I've already gone and put that on, because there's a base now. And it sticks. Now, of course, this is my second live feed on YouTube, because earlier I did have to tend to my dog. That one is a little bit higher than expected, and the other dog is starting to sneeze. I don't know if that looks all right to you guys. But this is where you go in as well with your mascara. Thank you, Paris. Animals. And when I go in with my mascara, I go in on the outside, because that's where I have it the highest, from the outside of the rim or the lashes. And I just darken up those outside ones, because unless you jab yourself in the eye like I just did, nobody really sees the other ones at the front towards the waterline. That's pretty much the look. Now, I do have to touch some things up, like darken the eyebrows just a little bit on the outside, slick the hair back quite a bit, and put a wig on. Because I do have to get ready, because I am filming 11 Dirty Words, the drag edition, and I'm going to go through it all. As some of my friends might know, I like to swear, and I really have a good time pushing the limits. So if you want to see that video, like, subscribe, thumbs up, the whole 9 yards. Check out my Instagram, LilyDivine84, or my boy account, which it may be posted there as well, at bravo.36. And that's both on Instagram. You can check me out on Facebook as well, Lily Divine. Check out my friend Paris Gore as well. She's on there as Lilith William Michael Bolton Armstrong, I believe. Lots of names. And the House of Gore as well, which is up in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, as well as Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan. Now, with that being said, I'm going to pretty myself up a little bit more, but you get the idea of what we've gone through with the cream foundation, blocking the eyebrows, step by step in both videos. This one was actually a bit longer. So as you can see, in just under 2 hours, I've done a whole entire face online here with you guys. So thank you for stopping by, and all of y'all, have a good day. Bye.